Five Nights at Freddy's is widely regarded as one of, if not the best, indie horror game. I mean, it sparked an entirely new wave of indie game developers to create new and exciting games, and it influenced countless childhoods. However, I'm not going to be talking about that franchise, but rather a fan game of the FNAF franchise. Five Nights at Maggie's is a game series made by Manuel Henaro that I had never heard of until just a few weeks ago when I was browsing the Google Play Games app on my computer for some reason. And as I looked into the games, they seemed like typical FNAF fan games, so I downloaded them and tested them out. This wasn't an issue. The issue later came when I was tired of the terrible emulated control scheme and wanted to play them how they were intended. So, naturally, I went to GameJolt to download the official PC versions of the games, but when I did download them, I decided to check if they were safe files because I've just made a habit out of it. And when I did, I was met with this. That's right, not one or two, but multiple flags for viruses. The first game had 4 flags when put through a virus scanner, and the second game had 5. After seeing the results, I decided to do a little research and find out what others are saying about this, which quickly made me realize that not many people have said anything about this franchise. Hell, not many people have even played the games. After some searching around, I found a few Reddit posts about the virus situation, and in the discussions, people were mostly saying the viruses are an error and that they aren't anything to be worried about. How come some FNAF fan games are detected as viruses? For some reason, Webroot detects some fan games like Juniors as viruses. Anyone know why? It's a false positive. That happens a lot with Click Team games from GameJolt. If it's from a popular and reputable source like the Juniors team, it'll be fine. There are no viruses in Juniors. If I recall correctly, Click Team can shut down your computer and other things, but any reputable fan game won't use any of these features, just a false positive. You should be able to let it through on your antivirus. Naturally, after hearing about the viruses, I wanted to see if anything would actually happen, so I booted them up and started playing. Yeah, about that. I did not do that, and I wouldn't recommend any of you do it either. Even if it is just a bug in Click Team's code or something, I want it to be safe so as to not have anything happen to my computer. And if you want to play these games, I would highly recommend you do the same. In the Google Play Games PC app, you can find all 3 of Five Nights at Maggie's games, all without any potential viruses after I scanned my computer using Malwarebytes. So, now that we have all of that out of the way, let's get into what Five Nights at Maggie's is truly all about. Five Nights at Maggie's is a typical FNAF 1 fan game. There's a job listing for a night guard to watch animatronics, and you have to survive 5 nights as you click through some cameras and close a door or two, all while some random guy talks your ear off in the beginning of each night. However, this game does have a vent mechanic, so that's a little different than the typical gameplay loop of most other FNAF 1 fan games. But there's still a door to close and a flashlight to see as per usual. So let me introduce you to all the animatronics at Maggie's magical world and explain how they work. The main star of the show is obviously Maggie. She's a ginger cat with purple clothes. She tries to get to the night guard through the door to the office. Next up is Lola. She's a dog dressed like a cheerleader, following the same mechanic as Maggie. The first male animatronic is Chanchi. He's a pig in a red and green striped shirt, and his mechanic is actually a bit unique. You'll see his face on a camera, and if you don't change off that camera quickly enough, then he runs down the hall, but you can close the door before he gets to you. In camera 3, you'll find 2 more animatronics, one of which is Guppy, a dark brown cat that looks mistreated to the point of having no eyes. If you don't watch camera 3, then he'll run down the hall and you'll have to close the door on him as well. The other is Surdy, and he doesn't do anything for any of the 5 nights. The last 2 are the vent animatronics, Flower, a black cat with purple pants and a flower on her chest, and Hank, a brown mouse with blue pants and a blue bow tie. Both of them will appear in the vent, and if you don't flash them with your light, they'll jump scare you. Yeah, this game isn't really difficult, and as long as you check the vent under the desk and the door behind you, you'll be perfectly fine. Rinse and repeat for 5 nights and you've officially beaten the game. FNAF and its fan games aren't really known for their simple gameplay loop though. It's all about the lore. This game has the typical lore of a FNAF 1 fan game, with that being little to none, and what we do learn seems like a bunch of disconnected nonsense. But there are VHS recordings after each night that show an underlying story. The first night's phone call is pretty boring. The previous night guard just tells you how to do your job, which he calls a nightmare, and mentions that he'll be quitting in a week, and that the owner died in the building. After completing the first night, you're rewarded with the first tape. It's recorded May 25th, 1978, and shows the shadow of an animatronic lying down while being shocked before it sits up, and one of the animatronic's faces is in front of the camera. After that is night 2, and the phone call for this night is just as boring. He talks about the animatronics getting more active and that Hank and Flower move now, before wishing you good luck. There's no tape after night 2, which means we've moved directly into night 3. The phone call for this night, yeah, you already know what I'm gonna say. It sucks. Now, let's get into the next tape. After completing the third night, you get to see the next VHS tape. Recorded on June 3rd, 1981, it shows the same room as the previous tape, with the man crying, and the sound of something rattling on the floor is heard before the tape cuts off. Night 4, for some ungodly reason, has another phone call. He just says he was tampering with the animatronics and got fired for it. That's it. I'm sure that won't be a secret ending later. After beating Night 5, you're shown that the paycheck is made out to Stephen Cadell, meaning that that's the night guard we've been playing as. The final tape is also shown after beating Night 5, and it's shown to have been recorded on August 27th, 1982, only 1 year after the tape before. It worked, Henry. You tried to stop me, and you failed. Now the experiment is complete, and all thanks to you. The final tape sets up night 6, which is only against Surdy, and it is hard. If you make more than 1 or 2 mistakes, then you will not make it through the night. Don't worry though, you aren't missing much. The only thing that you get for making it through the extra night is a news article telling you that your boss was shot dead, and you're the prime suspect. Torturing yourself by playing Custom Night and beating 720 mode will show you a pink slip for Darren Hart, who was fired about a week before you were hired, meaning he is the phone guy. But that's about all the lore we have in Five Nights at Maggie's 1. In fact, that's pretty much it for Five Nights at Maggie's 1. There isn't much lore or interesting gameplay at all. I really wish he would have been a bit more intuitive with his gameplay or plot or literally anything about the game. The phone calls at the beginning of the nights that even have them are just tutorials with nothing interesting about them. The entire game just seems so cookie cutter that I was bored halfway through, with the only interesting night being 6, which isn't even technically required to beat the game and get your sweet paycheck of a whopping $100.50, which you can then use almost in its entirety to buy your brand new copy of Mario Kart World. But this is his first Five Nights at Freddy's fan game, so hopefully he does better with his next one. Five Nights at Maggie's 2 shakes it up a bit, because it starts with an Atari-style game with the text "Find Them" on the top of the screen. You play as a security guard exploring the pizzeria until he stumbles upon a VHS tape, and interacting with it causes this to play. Now, I know a lot of people aren't really affected by scary videos, especially after becoming desensitized to horror content, but I'm not one of those people, and this video made me actually look behind me to see if someone was in my room. Yeah, I know, the guy who likes horror content is scared of loud noises and distorted imagery, but I don't really care what you think, because I'm getting the full experience while you're sitting in your chair chasing the same horror high that you got when you watched Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared for the first time. Anyway, this game has some differences in playstyle and animatronics from the first game. There's a new animatronic, Jerry the Rabbit. He's blue and looks like he's seen much brighter days, which is actually the theme of this game, as all of the animatronics are now withered. It takes place in an office with a hallway to your left, a vent in front of you, and an animatronic to your right. You can use the cameras and either play sounds or close the vent to keep them away from you. But if you don't, then they get into your office one of two ways. The hallway will have some of the animatronics, and the others will try to get in via the vent. If they are in the hallway, then as the angsty teen from Sister Location says,
"Let's zap her. That should be fun."
After administering a controlled shock, then they should go back to their original room. The animatronic in your office is none other than Guppy, the same animatronic from the first game that already looked mistreated, but now he's in way worse shape. All you have to do to deal with him is check on him every so often and flash him with your light to make him sit back down. Rinse and repeat over 5 nights, and just like any other FNAF fan game, you've beaten it. Now, let's get into the story of Five Nights at Maggie's 2. When you click play, you're greeted with an ad for a night guard position in the John McAdams Entertainment Warehouse for an astounding $150 a week. Your first night on the job begins with the longest phone call in the game. He welcomes you and says this isn't a normal security job. He then explains that the animatronic in the office isn't part of the tour and says that when he asked why, they say it's because he's too old or he doesn't represent John McAdams' work. But he doubts the truth to that answer. He then says he was told the animatronics move at night due to system malfunctions, but he doesn't believe that either. He goes on to mention that something happened at the old restaurant with the owner, which gives us a hint towards the game's story. The rest of the call is just a boring tutorial though. During some nights, there is a hidden cassette tape, and night 1 just so happens to be one of them, and upon beating the night, the tape will play. Night 1's tape is the longest, so bear with me here. It begins with John McAdams saying that this is tape number 1, then introducing himself and saying the date, May 25th, 1975, as well as saying it's the first day of an experiment he's doing alone as he fears that anyone else would think his practices are inhumane. However, he thinks there is no such thing as an immoral action in science. And yeah, if you know anything about antagonists in FNAF fan games, you know what he's about to admit to doing. He says that he's not a bad guy, but he does want to sacrifice others for the benefit of science. He then says he's going to use his own unborn child because he's the most accessible option. He didn't even wait for him to be born, he just pre-ordered a test subject. But at least he is kind enough to wait a few years until his son is 3, because he needs his son to have the ability to form memories. Yeah, I'm sure that your son won't resent you because of what you did to him, especially because he'll be able to remember all of it. But that's all for the first night, which means we're on to night 2. Night 2's phone call is much shorter and less important to the story compared to night 1. He just says that the animatronics get more aggressive as the nights go on before explaining more tutorial stuff and ending the call. And since there's no tape to find in night 2, after beating it, we'll go directly to night 3. The call for night 3 is pretty much the exact same formula as night 2, but the good news is that there's a hidden tape, so once we find that and beat the night, we get to listen to it. The tape begins with John McAdams saying that he was recording tape number 8, and that it's June 3rd, 1978. He then says that the experiment failed, because although his son is in his new body, he's aggressive and overly emotional. Shocking, I know. It's almost like forcing your child to become an animatronic from the moment he began to form thoughts and memories doesn't exactly bring them that much joy. He specifically mentions the animatronic showing a lot of negative emotion, like anger, frustration, despair, and hatred. Despite his failure, he says he's going to continue making children become animatronics and that his son was only a prototype. He finishes off by saying that he's going to store his son away for now. Dad of the Year award is definitely going to go to this guy. That's all for night 3. On night 4, the phone guy sounds terrified and tells us that there's another animatronic in the building he wasn't informed of. He then explains how the animatronic works before wishing you luck and ending his final call. The animatronic he was talking about is Jerry, the rabbit, which is, as previously mentioned, a new animatronic introduced in this game. But since there's no tape, that's it for night 4, so we can move on to the 5th night. Night 5 has no phone call, thankfully. However, this night was way harder than night 4. In fact, this game's difficulty ramps up much faster than I expected. Hell, the entire game is more difficult than the first one, but some people do like a challenge when it comes to playing video games. I am one of those people, except I kinda suck at video games, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But upon beating the night, we are awarded with a paycheck amounting $130.50 addressed to Aaron Mayer on 7/21/95. And after that, we can move on to the tape found on this night. This tape starts completely differently than the previous two. John McAdams sounds devastated as he talks about his daughter being gone, trapped, assumingly in an animatronic, before blaming Henry, the same one mentioned in the Night 5 VHS tape and Five Nights at Maggie's 1. He then says Henry was supposed to take care of her and protect her, before saying, "Now she's gone, your own sister." He then ends the tape by saying he can't give up and that his work must be finished. So this tape tells us that not only is Henry John McAdams' son, but he has a sister, and maybe a brother, as it's not entirely clear if Henry is the same child he had turned into an animatronic. And although this seems like a ton of story already, there is more in the optional Night 6. If you found the hidden tape, you get to listen to it after the night. It shows John McAdams' descent into complete madness.
They're starting an investigation on me. Me! It doesn't make any sense. How did they connect me to those orphans? It's not possible. I was careful. I had the bodies dismembered, disfigured, impossible to distinguish. The parts scattered, fragmented, far from this location. Somebody's against me. Somebody doesn't want the future to happen. But I don't care. They can't stop me. They can't stop progress. And I'll kill as many as it takes to succeed. I can't stop now. And I can't be stopped now. No. Not when I'm this close. Humanity will thank me, revere me even. I need more time. But time is running out. Whatever it takes, I must succeed.
You also get a news article that says the McAdams warehouse was burned down overnight, and authorities believe it was an intentional fire, with you, the night guard, being the main suspect, before saying all the salvaged parts will be used to create a new attraction. You'll see this ending if you play through the game like the vast majority of people. However, if you look at the bottom left and really use your brain, you can see that this is the fake ending. And to get the true ending, you'll need to have found each one of the tapes scattered across the different nights, as well as beat Night 6. If you manage to do that, you'll be shown this news article saying that the warehouse was closed down after only a month because it was not safe for children due to the lack of protection against the machinery, with people also finding it disrespectful to the family of Lester Arias who died in the warehouse in 1992. Attached to the article is a pink slip for Aaron Meyer, due to the company being closed down. Story-wise, that's pretty much all Five Nights at Maggie's 2 has to offer. This game is a huge leap ahead of the first one. The gameplay is much more interesting and captivating. The difficulty curve made this game much more fun than the first one, as well as scary. There were moments I would actually take my headset off and set it down if I thought I was going to lose the night because I didn't want to get jump scared. And the story was much more expansive and interesting in this game as well. It told us a lot more about John McAdams and what drove him to make the animatronics, and have people possess them as well as the people that are possessing them. He improved pretty much every aspect that I didn't like about the previous game, and I hope he continues to do so in the next entry. Five Nights at Maggie's 3 opens looking at Maggie, with an uncanny robot voice welcoming you and telling you how to do your job, while it breezes past the part about the company Creative Concepts not being liable nor responsible for injury or dying. It then says you have the choice between doing an automatic repair and doing it manually with, well, a manual, with the automatic repair being described as very low maintenance and easier than getting down and dirty with the animatronics yourself. So naturally, I chose to use the manual. I mean, come on, you really think this choice doesn't matter? It's a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. Of course, every choice matters. The manual tells you to find a red and blue cable, cut them, and charge the animatronics through them. It then stops after saying that the cables are in different spots in each one of the animatronics due to John not following any pattern while designing them. Once in control of our character though, we get the option to move to the right and flash a light down a corridor, although nothing is in it for right now. Once you find the cables and charge Maggie to 100%, you press a button and... yeah, it seems like we may be charging these guys a little too much, but I just do whatever the boss says. After that, we see 7 lit up rectangles as one slowly fades away. I wonder what that could possibly mean. A cutscene then begins and the screen displays 7:48, May 9th, 1985. Someone walks in the house with blood all over their clothes and a beard. He speaks in yellow text and says, "I can't do this. I have the things, but I need to hide again." It's not worth it. He's trapped in there. He won't go anywhere. I give up. And with that, we're officially on the title screen. Before the first night begins, we get to see the ad that led to us being stuck here for 5 nights. It says Creative Concepts is looking for security guards at 12 to 6 a.m. and that they aren't responsible for any injury or dismemberment. But on the bright side, if you make it through the week, you get an astounding $170, before taxes of course. Besides 2 animatronics, the entire cast in Five Nights at Maggie's 3 is completely different from the previous Five Nights at Maggie's games. The new animatronics are Esther and Lester, 2 rats that try to get into the office via the vent in camera 7, Bob the pig, Lola the dog, Cracky the crocodile, and Rolf the wolf, which all try to get into the office by moving through the building or the main vent. The 2 animatronics that are older are Maggie and the endoskeleton, which causes static, forcing you to cut power to the camera he's on to get rid of him. You may be thinking right now, well, we haven't seen an endoskeleton move around in any of the previous games though. And you would be correct, my astute viewer, but we'll get to that later when we talk about the lore. Speaking of, I've pretty much covered the gameplay, so we can move right to it. Just a note before we begin breaking down each night, every single phone call is boring and has absolutely nothing to do with the story of the games. However, I will do my due diligence and briefly summarize whatever he says in each of the calls. Night 1 begins with a phone guy welcoming you and mentioning that he's worked there before you. He then says that there are a lot of things that they don't tell you about this job, and he offers his guidance before explaining the tablet and its 3 sections: the cameras, the main vent, and the breakers. As well as mentioning that there is now limited energy, which is actually the first time in a Five Nights at Maggie's game that this feature has been implemented. And you can find the energy meter on the tablet as well. He tells you that the animatronics move, but when he tried to speak to management about it, they just ignored him. He ends the call by reminding you not to forget the tutorial he gave you and signing off by wishing you good luck. Night 1 in and of itself is pretty uneventful, but after completing it, you have to do maintenance on another animatronic. This time, it's Bob the pig. Once locating his removable panels and exposing the wires, you can attach your cables and charge him, except this time you're not alone. You hear a rustling beside you and you turn to see what's there, but when you shine your flashlight, you're met with Endo, who gets really close to you really quickly. Making it through this section isn't really that difficult as long as you frequently check the corridor for Endo and shine your flashlight at him. After charging Bob to 100%, we see yet another rectangle fade away before our next cutscene. This one begins with the same kind of text, but this time it says 1708, March 31st, 1992. We see 2 people talking to one another. Steve, the one with the red shirt, and Aaron, the one that looks like Walter White. And to make it easy for us, Manuel Henaro made Aaron speak in yellow text and Steve speak in white text. Their conversation is as follows. Anyways, I'm gonna get some coffee. You want some? Yeah, sure. Hey, do you mind if I read the newspaper? No, go ahead. I never read it. They just leave it in the doorway. Oh my god, dude. Listen to this. The Frankenstein is back. After 8 years without any trace or appearance, the serial killer known as the Frankenstein has reappeared, taking a new victim, a 16-year-old boy who was reported missing a week ago. Here it says that his body was found in the John McAdams Entertainment warehouse. Dude, I was sure that John McAdams was the Frankenstein. I can't believe it. I mean, it only made sense. Maybe it was his son Henry. He is missing, and after all, he really did kill his... Hey, Steve? I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Oh, okay. Is everything okay, Aaron? Yeah. I remembered I needed to finish some work for tomorrow. Oh, okay. You need any help? Nah, don't worry. I'm sorry I made you come here. No problem, dude. See you at work tomorrow? Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow. He didn't stop. Not even in that body. I have to stop him. This is not over. The screen fades to black and night 1 is over. Maybe I'm missing something here, but it doesn't really make sense that the people in Maggie's universe would call the killer the Frankenstein. I mean, as the player, sure, we do know that John McAdams puts his victims in animatronics, but do the people of this world know this? And if they do, how in the hell did they figure it out? Did he confess that he put their souls into animatronics? Most people wouldn't give this a second thought though, so I see why Manuel Hinaro wouldn't think twice about including that as the name of the killer. But I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, on to night 2. The phone guy tells you the animatronics move faster as the week goes on and says he left out a bunch of details in the last tape. He then explains the vent in Cam 7 and how to use it before wishing you good luck and ending the call. This night, Esther and Lester begin to move and attempt to get into your office via the vent in front of you, but as long as you close it on Cam 7 when you hear the knocking, this night shouldn't be much of a challenge. After beating night 2, the animatronic that needs maintenance is Lolo the dog. Find the wires and charge him while shining your light at Endo, and upon him reaching 100%, you'll see another rectangle fade away, before a cutscene begins with Henry speaking in yellow text and Stacy speaking in purple. 1613, June 2nd, 1981. So, did you have fun? Yes, I had so much fun. Okay, let's go. Dad's waiting for us. Wait, Henry, can I ask you something? Yes, Stacy. What's happening? Where's my mom? Oh. All the kids in the birthday party had moms, but I never had one. Why? Well, let's just say she went to heaven after you were born. Heaven? Like, she can fly? Something like that, yeah. But why? Well, she got a little bit sick, so she went to heaven to get some help from God. Wow, will she ever come back? Come back? She's always with us. You just don't see her. She's always taking care of us and making sure that we're safe. One day we'll see her again, but we'll have to wait for that. Wow, that's so cool. Okay, now let's... Wait, did she love me? Love you? More than anything in the world, Stacy. She wouldn't stop holding you and kissing you when you were a baby. You were her precious baby girl. Before she went to heaven, she made me and Dad promise that you were going to get the life and love that you deserve. And that's what we're doing every day. Wow, thank you, Mom. I'm having so much fun with them, but Dad's always working. Maybe he doesn't love me. Hey, don't say that. Dad loves you with all his heart. He would do anything for you, no matter what. He's just a little busy right now, but when he is with you, he gives you everything you want, right? Yeah. That's because he loves you. Don't ever think otherwise. Okay, and does Dad love you? It's getting late now. We should go inside. Dad's waiting for you. Okay. My balloon! Stacy, wait! This should feel familiar if you've been paying attention. This seems to be the exact same event that John McAdams references in the previous game after finding the tape in Night 5. We see that it was actually a complete accident that led to the passing of Henry's sister. Even before she passes away, Henry already seems like his father doesn't like him, or maybe he's even being mistreated by John. This is all speculation as of right now though. We'll have to see what the following nights tell us. Night 3 starts with Phone Guy explaining how Cracky the crocodile works, and he functions almost identically to Foxy, with the only difference being that if you look at Cracky, he'll go back to camera 1. If you don't look at him in time though, you'll see one of the scariest parts of the game. But as long as you keep your eye on him throughout the night, you'll be able to hear the chime of the alarm clock at 6 a.m. You're met with none other than Cracky himself after beating the night. Remove his head and arms, clip the exposed wires, and connect your charging cables to begin the minigame. Flash Endo when you hear him, and by now I'm sure you know what to do. Charge him all the way and give him a little shock. Afterwards, another rectangle fades away, and that leaves 3 remaining. The cutscene that follows has Stacy's father, John McAdams, who speaks in blue text. 2/14, June 3rd, 1981. Dad, where am I? My body hurts. I know, Stacy. I know. Don't worry, you'll feel better very soon. Dad, I'm scared. I know, just don't worry. Here, take this. You'll get sleepier. You'll fall asleep, and you'll wake up better than ever. In a new and improved body. Nothing will ever hurt you again. Okay, this tells us a lot about the story. Well, I think so at least. We finally found out who the child was inside Maggie, John's daughter Stacy, and we see him crying on the floor afterwards. If you note the date it said before the cutscene started, it may seem familiar, because we've actually seen that exact date before. In Five Nights at Maggie's 1, the VHS tape that plays after Night 3 shows the footage of the room that is depicted in this cutscene, and you can hear someone off-screen crying, which is also shown. So we can reasonably come to the conclusion that in Five Nights at Maggie's 1, we are seeing the camera footage of John McAdams after transferring his daughter into Maggie. We can also assume that the third tape we hear in Five Nights at Maggie's 2 was created on the same day because he's crying and talking about losing his daughter in that one as well. This is a major step in connecting the storylines of these games and making them feel as if they're truly following a story. Hopefully we can continue to do that as we get through the remainder of the game. Night 4 is the last night that the phone guy makes a call, and he explains that there's a new animatronic as well as how he works. That animatronic is Endo, and he tells you how to combat him messing with the camera feed. This is when the game gets challenging. Make sure you always get rid of Endo and keep an eye on Cracky while watching the cams, and you should survive another night. Doing so will allow you to do maintenance on Rolf the Wolf. Do the usual maintenance while looking out for Endo, and once you fully charged him, another rectangle will fade away, leaving only 2 remaining. Finishing the minigame causes a cutscene to play where Steven speaks in yellow text and Robert speaks in gray text. 7/10, May 9th, 1985. Oh, hi Steven. I'm kinda busy right now. You should talk to my secretary and schedule a meeting. Okay, I don't know exactly what you want, but we don't have money here. Do you think I'm an idiot, Robert? The fact that you're pointing a gun to my head makes me believe you are an actual idiot, Henry. So you knew it was me. Of course I knew. I've known you my whole life. I could recognize you a mile away even with that horrible beard. So why didn't you hand me over to the police? Because I recognized you after you were hired. And what is the press gonna say about this? That our HR team doesn't do background checks on the people we hire? That we hired a fugitive? It would ruin the company more than it already is. So you're welcome, actually. You could stop pointing that gun at me. I won't hand you over. No, I need what's in the safe. What? The safe, Robert. It's important and really hard to explain. Oh my god. Not you too. What? What? You think I don't know about your father's experiment? Wait, you knew? Of course I knew. I'm the CEO of this company, for Christ's sake. And you didn't do anything? I found out after I was named CEO. But you knew all this time and didn't say anything. And what was I supposed to say? That our founder was a maniac who killed children for some weird dream of immortality that he had? And let this whole company go under just because of the dream of some lunatic? Oh god. You are a monster. You only care about the money. I care about the people, Henry. Everyone would lose their jobs if this came to light. And what exactly are you planning to do with those blueprints? It's more complicated than you think. You don't understand, Robert. He actually made it work. What? The robots. They move because of that. Oh my god. Henry, listen to yourself. Those robots are just malfunctioning. Do you really think that immortality is possible? Your father was just a maniac and nothing more than that. I don't care what you believe or not. I need the blueprints. My god, Henry. Is this some I need to make my father proud sort of thing? Do you feel the need to finish his work or something like that? To make you feel less guilty about what you've done? You were just like your father told me you were. Stop talking. Oh, what? Why? Are you actually gonna shoot me? You are pathetic, Henry. Nothing more but a pathetic, ungrateful piece of garbage. Shut up! Oh god. What have I done? Okay, so I think it's important to note here that no two characters share a text color while speaking, which leads me to assume that each different character has their own color they speak in. We see in this cutscene that Steven is actually Henry, and both of their text color is the exact same shade of yellow. But earlier we met another character with that same shade of yellow. Aaron shares the same color with Steven and Henry, and because Steven and Henry are the same person, I think we can safely assume that they are all three the same person. We just need to know if Aaron is a past identity Henry had or a future one he will have. I'm gonna say that this is probably a past identity, due to the mention of the McAdams warehouse, which was the location in the second game, and we can't be in that place currently because it was closed down due to lack of safety precautions. Oh yeah, and one small thing. In Five Nights at Maggie's 2, you play as Aaron. Your check is made out to Aaron, and the pink slip and the real ending is also made out to Aaron. So I think it's safe to say that this was a past identity. There is one small thing I didn't mention though. In Five Nights at Maggie's 1, the paycheck is made out to Steven, meaning that Henry was also the night guard in Five Nights at Maggie's 1, which makes me believe that this scene takes place between Five Nights at Maggie's 1 and 2, after he worked as a night guard for the first location, but before he changes his identity to work as a night guard in the second location. In fact, we can confirm this by looking back at the true ending in Five Nights at Maggie's 1 to see that Steven is suspected in the murder of his boss, which we see play out in this scene. The last thing I want to add before moving on to Night 5 is that I feel like Henry is being a lot like his father in this scenario. He wanted the blueprints and he did whatever it took to get them, even if it meant killing his boss. But he is blinded by the anger and animosity he has for his father, as well as Robert poking the bear by degrading him. Anyway, on to Night 5. On Night 5, you aren't greeted with a call. Instead, this night is just non-stop action. This was honestly a really difficult night. I had to retry it like 5 times to beat it, but once you manage to survive the night, you are greeted with both Esther and Lester awaiting maintenance. The Endo is super aggressive, making it very difficult for you to find an opportune time to charge them, but as long as you stay vigilant and make sure to check him very often, you should be able to finish charging them. Once they're shocked, we'll see that the last 2 rectangles fade away, meaning we finished helping all the animatronics. We then see Night 5's cutscene, with Henry speaking in his yellow text and his father, John, speaking in blue. 12:13, August 26th, 1982. I told you to be here by 11. It's already 12. Where the hell were you? I'm already here, ain't I? You look like a mess, and you stink of alcohol. Dang it, Henry! What am I supposed to do with you? As if you care about me. You didn't even care about Jason and Stacy. You better watch your mouth, Henry. Why? Do you feel guilty or something? Or am I wrong? You were never with them, and the last time you saw them, they died. You went with Jason to the park. Next thing we knew, he was dead. An accident. Probably because you couldn't keep an eye on him. Stacy was still alive when I brought her to you. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't survive because you were too busy playing with these stupid robots to get her to the hospital. And you're trying to put the blame on me, reminding me every day that I should have never let go of her hand, when you're really only trying to make yourself feel better for not being there for her. The last thing she asked me was if you loved her. Do you understand that? Your precious baby girl felt unloved by you, because the only thing you care about is your stupid work, which is not even going well, since people don't want to be near the restaurant that has police investigating it 24/7. You failed at your job, you failed at your kids, and the only reason you were always mad at me, it's because you need someone to blame for all your failures, when in reality, you are a failure. Now listen to me, you ungrateful piece of garbage. You have no idea of the things I've sacrificed to get where I am right now. Do you really think I wanted to do that to your brother and sister? I had no option if I wanted this whole thing to work out. And I used them because I loved them. They were going to do great things. They were the next step in greatness. And now they are gone. I won't stop until my work is finished. And neither the police nor you are ever going to stop me. What did you do to them? You're too drunk to talk about this right now. Get out of my sight. Now. We then get to see that 2 paychecks are made out to Aaron Mayer, which is Henry's current fake identity. One is noted as security guard and dated 5/18/01, and the other is noted as animatronics repairman, and that one's dated 5/25/01. Okay, now to talk about that cutscene. We see that John McAdams is shocked while working on Surdy, and because we know that shocking someone connected to an animatronic is how you transfer their soul, we know that John McAdams is Surdy. We also see what looks to be an almost mirror interaction to that of Steven and Robert, where one is antagonizing the other until they can't bear it and do something unhinged. In this case, it was the abuse that John inflicted upon Henry. It really shines a light on how Henry may not be as heroic as he seems. He definitely did a good thing by helping the animatronics and setting their souls free, but he has definitely compromised some of his morals to do so. Maybe this is just a byproduct of his neglected and abusive upbringing though, so he doesn't have a clear set of morals he follows. Either way, this is not quite the end of the story. We still have Night 6. I kinda just forgot to play Night 6, and when I re-downloaded the game, it didn't save my playthrough, so... Night 6 is just like Night 5, but harder. There aren't any changes to the animatronics or anything besides them being more aggressive. The maintenance part after the main night, however, is very much different. Who would we even be doing maintenance on if we've already helped all the animatronics? Well, there is one that we haven't quite helped yet. The Endo. You have to keep him from getting to you while also trying to make him get into an X in the middle of the corridor. Once he's on that X, you can shock him and are shown this final cutscene.
19 years. 19 years trying to stop you. 19 years studying your findings. Your horrible experiments. The immortality you were seeking all this time. And I did it. I made it work. Let me tell you, I was about to give up. But you made a bad choice to try it one last time. Lester Arias. That death, that was the last straw. That's how I knew that you were not going to stop. Not even in that body. I've been studying your blueprints and analyzing your tapes for longer than I can remember. And let me tell you, you made quite a few mistakes. Yes, you did achieve immortality with full consciousness in your body. But still, your movements were limited. Being sensitive to light, to sound. I thought John McAdams was smarter than that. But don't worry. Your son, the failure, the disgrace to the family, fixed all those problems for you and finally made it work. Or something like that. You see, I didn't want the kids to be in those bodies. They deserved a better life. They deserved a normal childhood, play with kids their age, go to school, and socialize, like normal human beings. You took that away from them a long time ago. They deserve to rest, once and for all. Jason and Stacy, they are resting from the hell you put them through. All of them, finally free. But for you, I had a very special plan. I didn't know if I should show all the things you've done to the world. On one hand, it would have brought peace to the people who were still terrified of the dreaded Frankenstein. But I decided to keep your reputation intact. You're still the great John McAdams. To some extent. Most people have forgotten you after the company went under a couple of years ago. I knew that if I brought this to light, your name would make a comeback, and I didn't want to give you the pleasure. That's why I decided to grant you your wish of immortality, but with a little twist. I wanted to make you feel the hell that you put Jason, Stacy, and all those other kids through. So, I added a few changes. You won't be able to speak. You won't be able to move. You will have no control over your body. You will still see, feel, and hear everything. You will live for eternity inside that machine, with nothing more to do but to see how your work, your name, and your wish of being remembered like some kind of god vanishes like the figments of some bad dream. You won't rest. You will suffer for eternity. It's time to pay for your sins, John.
Honestly, this game really brought all three of them together. I feel like this was an amazing finale for this series, so Manuel Genaro, please just end the series here. You've wrapped everything up in a pretty bow, and if you add any more, I feel like it would quickly become convoluted and incomprehensible. But then again, I could be wrong. And the gameplay was by far the best and most challenging of the three games. I can say with complete certainty that with each game you made, you improved upon the previous one in almost every way each time. This was a good Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. It's done right, without trying to loop it into the FNAF lore or anything. It just took inspiration from a game series, and you made your own thing. I loved piecing together the lore, and trying to predict what would happen before the reveals. There were so many times where I was writing the script or watching the footage back where I put pieces together and better understood the story, and realized just how well planned out it was. In the end, the story was really well done and easy to follow, which definitely adds to the experience. However, you did kind of have to work to get there. I mean, Five Nights at Maggie's 1 and 2 were kind of all over the place, but still, it came together pretty well in Five Nights at Maggie's 3. I would wholeheartedly recommend all of you to play this game series for yourself. But with all of that said, I think there's only one thing left for me to say. Roll the credits. Hey, it's been quite a while. This video's kind of been in development hell for months due to things getting in the way, like school, finals, and working and stuff like that. I just kind of lost motivation or didn't have the time to finish it when I wanted to, as well as my last video kind of doing terribly. That also killed my motivation quite a bit, but I'm gonna try to be more consistent going forward. If there's a new video game or horror game that I want to play, then I'm gonna play it, record it, write a script, and try to produce a video relatively quickly. I enjoy making videos, it just is really hard to find the time for them, but I did really enjoy this game series, and if you can, I'd recommend you playing it, and if you thought that the lore was really cool, maybe you could try to see if there were things I missed. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.